all, but that's one. I think we need to increase the exposure. Inspiration, I mean, can we, like Satish rightly said, success breeds success. Can we showcase local successes? Believe it's possible. If somebody from a neighboring, they believe it's possible. So is something that's very important. We did this. We are trying the FinTech Valley. We did try to create a culture of trying to. Big believer in student startups, right? I mean, students should study and they should graduate, but the inspiration should come there. Ideas, thinking about it, like just doing a hackathon to think about a problem to solve, think about customers, and right. I think we need to create those more and more of those fora where they get to experiment a little bit with ideas, but they start to think. Today, it's a very job-based as an end outcome, but otherwise their day-to-day life is exam-based. They hope that the good marks, good grades will get them a good job. And they think life is set. Life is not set, right? There's a lot more to life than that. I think we need to create this in a good way. I mean, like there, it's more about just building something, writing some code. Can we create I think that at scale, I think the framework that RTIH is creating, good framework to devise something at the central level and roll it out all the way and have hackathons that roll up to a state level. Customer problem focus is very important. I feel that alone can bring about starting point.
Which essentially is going to be an RTIH accredited network of, and through that we aim to democratize the aspect and also ensure that student innovators find that pipeline to.
Ratri, one interjection. Lokesh, you generally do things with speed. Professor Ramesh was speaking. A lot of institutes and schools helping students decide, because they generally stumble upon, and my own alma mater has implemented this very recently, that obviously it's there in ID Bombay, it's there in BITS. You can defer your placements, and if the fear of failure, like let's say if you fail, if nothing works out, you want to just come back and sit back again in placements. So this is something with speed. It creates a safety net. I mean, lot of us, lot of kids, like lot of friends wanted to, but then it's like that pressure of, okay, get a job and support family, and then, now I don't even have a job, right? Day one.
Suggestion, Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Madan Patki. And then you also scaled up enterprises from grassroots, which is where it really. It's well known that grassroots innovators are great at Jugaad. Now, how income producing enterprises?
Wonderful. Namaskar. To a bunch of views, very, very energizing. As I was sitting here, I started off in 2000, much before. Now I struggle without word autocorrect happening, whether it's NEUR. I sometimes believe the root word for entrepreneurship is antarprerana. And that should be the one, right? It's all about inner motivation. Lokesh, you have to start off by replacing entrepreneurship with entrepreneurship or something. It's so, and at that time, to what a handful of us in Bangalore who were dreaming of being a startup. In fact, TIE started in Bangalore in '99. I'm a president of TIE Bangalore, and I still remember attending one of the first meetings where they were like some naive questions like, if you don't return equity, will you get jailed and stuff like that. But it's come a long way. The nation has moved a long way. In fact, I must on the Honorable CM's foresightedness. Andhra has merit track in 2003 to conduct India's first ever called GET, and we did it online across all the districts of Andhra. I'll never forget that because everything that could go wrong went wrong. But that set the tone for what a different system could look like, right? So, Dhatri, about the whole vision. You were talking about data. So I think there's a 3D framework in play here, right? Every youth out of any village dream that, yes, I can, that we were talking about. Two, it has to be distributed. That's the concept of mass entrepreneurship, that how do you get every village in a Vizag or a Hyderabad or a Bangalore or a Delhi has, and knowledge that I can still do it. And third, it has to be, the world is really the market, and I think we are at an inflection point of the same 2000s when you can really reimagine everything with the power of AI, and that I think every big idea has a tipping point, and we're getting to the tipping point to the ecosystem that we're seeing in places like Vizag. From the aspect of taking grassroots ideas and building, just summarizing some of the things that we said, there are three things at play. One is to make every young person right from school to start think about thinking. Now, whether one becomes an entrepreneur or not is a moot, critical 21st century skill, right? So how do we embed that seed? Yes, I can think entrepreneurially, I can think jugaad, I can think. The beauty about India is there are problems everywhere, right? Every problem is an opportunity in disguise, and if you can capture opportunities, we're sitting on multi-billion-dollar opportunities, right? Second, RTIH comes into play, right? How do we make the soil fertile enough for the academic institutions helping with incubation? It could be local capital level. Go the extra mile to say, yes, I'll lend to you, right? It could be local relatable role models which says, if this joker can do it, why can't somebody else? Which is what happens in entrepreneurial ecosystem. Which is where, Lokesh Garu, and you were talking about, sir, is that it is supportive of the entire seed and soil, right? How do we, capital is easy. How do we make sure that ease of doing business, I think, which is a big deal. In fact, at GAME, we had helped one state decriminalize issues around imprison an entrepreneur, and we brought it down to some 170, right? So we can go out there, bat on the front foot and say, listen, I can hit every ball for of confidence that we need to do. So we need to make sure that there's an orchestra of seed, soil and climate, and I'm sure with we can build this up. In fact, one last point I would like to level, we need to be able to infuse, as you were saying, logistics, right? How do we make sure that there are common infrastructure available even at the village level? So if there's a women artisan producing something, packages to 30 kilometers out, returns and all that. So can we do that ease of doing business from an infrastructure standpoint? I know we haven't talked much about the two-letter AI word, inclusive. So I believe that India needs not more of Gen AI, but we need to be able to take AI to the masses, and we're actually launching a large initiative. Can it be a hotbed of AI innovation? Local youth, and I think that opportunity to do that is fascinating. So look forward to working together at the Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship mission that we have RTIH, and I think we are experimenting a bunch of things here, and able to set the entrepreneurship model as we were talking about. Thank you.
Oil and climate concept that you've introduced us to. Hopefully through RTIH as well, micro incubator network across Andhra Pradesh, where we have mobile incubators traveling to the remotest, right to the doorstep of the grassroots innovator. He need not go searching around for the right. HMIT sir, we come back to you once again. Sir, you want a wide aspiration. So how can we ensure that rural entrepreneurs, MSMEs, students, the mission reaches all of them? We have a lot of investors, students, innovators watching us today. So what is this?
I'm getting all the tough. To be honest, well, I'll answer your question. You need to have fire in your belly. Please understand. There is an example for us, that is our Chief Minister. Journey. What was Hyderabad in 94? Nothing. He got L&T to build a round building called now Cyber. Then he flew, he managed to steal Bill Gates out of networking dinner. Hyderabad, got them to do their center. He hijacked the flight that was going to Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, served breakfast with his own hands to all the to get ISB to Hyderabad. Let's look at what is he doing. The quantum mission that's getting created in Amritsar. When he first called me and he said, "Yaar, I want to do this quantum thing," I'm like, "Whoa." So I went to ChatGPT. I said, "ChatGPT, give me a 2-page note on what is the ecosystem, what does it mean?" Yeah, right? He follows up the persistence, perseverance. Entrepreneurs here, there will be 99 naysayers. It won't time. But it takes that 1 second done. And I'm sure Rajesh will agree with me on this. I'm sure. నీకెందుకురా భయ్ అన్ని నువ్వు నీకు మంచి డబ్బులు వస్తాయి కదా ఐఐటికి ఎందుకు పంపి these are the questions that we get asked. But that fire in the belly, you need to be patient, you need to be persistent. I think there's a lot of work that we need to do. So as in 2 young ministers, relatively young, I have a lot more young ministers. We have, with all the panelists here, we need to sit, we need to work, introspect the changes that we need to bring. It's not easy to do business in India. Let's accept the reality. It's trying to, top the Andhra mein speed of doing business. Let's accept fact that it is. But what I'm promising to every entrepreneur in this room is willing to change. We are here, we are willing to look at every regulation, law to deliver in spirit. Logistics in the village. It spoke about the artisan supply their product to the US or to pickles at an industrial scale and sending it to Europe households making tapes from Kaja and trying to send or even to Australia. Logistics matters. So this is where the entire ecosystem sort of comes. Exactly what I'm looking forward to working with, all the leaders here. You understand the wealth of knowledge that's here in the big fives, with all due respect to them. Because you've tried, again, you've run. Satish has incubated so many. I'm very envious in the way he's done it. So there's a lot that, the companies can come and give us input on. As you rightly said, the rural, someone who's is sweet. That's a big business in India. And we love our sweets. We love food. Millets is a big business. Right? There's such amazing. But this is where I think it's very easy to say that we look at everything, we'll evaluate everything, we'll fund everything, but to scale at that level. But how environment that will stand the test of time and politics. So this days, right? Our lifetime, they should institutional framework, and that is what, as young men, to the people of Andhra Pradesh. Please understand, 17 out of 20. So what we bring is raw energy. Things. While I know it's not a political party is now has of legacy under its belt, but the team now. The last part I would like to add is the governance framework. Yesterday we signed an MOU with the Singapore government. The point we inked is building capacity, where officers like Datri will go to Singapore, understand. But then Lokesh is here today. How does the framework continue beyond me? Or I'm sure Rajesh knows this, right? When you started your company, it was all, but then you bring in systems, processes, frameworks. States need, and only then will we thrive. Stone of what we want to achieve in this term. There's this startup, there's that land given, this is there, that's great, but the frameworks. The state should continue to $2.4 trillion economy. Bharat mission can be delivered. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mr. Arora. This was so Mr. Arora, sir, we are the partners that we have at RTIH are our real strength. How do we ensure that corporates are co-builders in this journey with RTIH?
Satish mentioned chases talent. I think it's not good products, good companies, good. So, in fact, everybody chases good talent, and I think RTIH and the role of I think Lokesh garu mentioned about ease of doing business. I think the context is obviously mostly startups faster. But I think, at least in Tata Group, what we say is how to become most attractive corporates for startups. Can we do something so that we become the most attractive? Because we have thousands of problems. In fact, on Monday, from a program for shop floor workers and supervisors can be solved using AI. We are expecting about 15. We are in the very first in this month to help them identify, put them with mentors who have done AI projects in Tata Company. So when we team does a lot of work in identifying startups, giving them use cases, we on an open website startups and then when it comes to giving, there are a little bit of rough edges. It could be most of them which I don't know. So I think if we can have an equivalent of, can we have a 3PL for ride on and do some de-risk the whole thing. So this is a big problem. De-risking to work with easy, but I think there's a role that 3PL can play here, equivalent of 3PL, not really. So if there is something that we can do to bridge the gap between and those barriers that I'm talking about, when it comes to helping this vision of one family, one entrepreneurship. And let me go to our very vision. Our chairman, when it comes to, I talked about recognizing failures. There's one of those, the failure. So there are about 15 awards given. There are 15 and there are 15 awards, so 1 per 1,000. More difficult than IIT, JEE Advanced or Tata Innovation Ecosystem. So there was no award for Dare to Try, and he was quite upset. He said, I'm very unhappy. While the favorite award is Dare to Try, which means there is something which is missing. Why? Ideas. So there was a message, and that is a message. And when we have leaders like, and I think, as I said, we all can come together and help their vision accomplish.
Thank you so much, sir. Just to add to that, if for any of 15 plus partners that are working with RTIH today are doing, they are literally driving it on themselves. We have corporate innovation challenges wherein corporates throw their problem statements open for startups to work on, to that then work orders for startups. They are also trying to open up their test beds. They have access to the data sandboxes that they can work on. They are also anchored in the spoke network, and also imagine the best people in the corporate in the RTIH network. So we're really grateful for all the support that we're getting, sir. Partner network that we have in RTIH. Rajesh, we come back to you now. You've mentioned how it's so important to create a lot of startup founders now working. So what can RTIH and government journey?
Created, right? I think that, I'm being very, very, I really don't need much of help. Just to be around them and ensure that they really, say ki I'm bumming Vizag and I'm moving out of. Getting something created is Basically, let's say assuming startups begin, let's say assuming 100 startups or let's say 1,000 startups, begin, right? Getting to the first institutional raise, right? That, that fall is the high. Less than 10 or 7 or 8 will get there. Once it's working, it's probably, IPOing maybe 30 to 40%, right? So literally after it's created, after the founders comes out, etc. I think, letting them, not disturbing them too much. They come to you guys for help, figure it out, or at least act like you're. Yes, right? Yeah.
Point taken. We're just gonna let them be if they already start.
Yeah.
Mr. Satish sir, your it to come from you, the alternative investment fund, especially your state backed in place, so that the private capital is.
Yeah. I know Bhaskar Garu is here, is working on this, and it's been a dream of Lokesh Garu. I think first thing we need to do is make sure that, and it's neutral, right? And it's very. The most important thing is that a lot of states do a mistake to create a fund to support entrepreneurs in this, but also to create that escape velocity and to create the success. Flexible. One of the things we could do is that AP, right? Even the founding team could be in Bangalore, could be in Hyderabad. A portion of them, if they have significant operations in AP, could be allocated to them. So I think when we create a platform like that today, I mean, India took birth 10 years ago. Hon'ble Prime Minister, all credit to DPIIT. The 10,000 crore, another 10, so 100,000 crores went into the startup ecosystem. Very similarly now, if you look at, there's a deep tech fund, there is RDI fund of 1 lakh crores that is recently. Several initiatives. There is Self-Reliant India, which is an MSME, 1,000 crores. One of the things we need to do is, state will definitely contribute, and the private investors make it a neutral platform, privately run, and run on merit primarily, right? So that it'll only grow and become really big. I think that's the structure. All of you and Bhaskar Garu, I believe that, like I said, we should have at least, from my perspective, we should have an innovation fund. I think start innovation, like you talked about, speed of business. A lot of deep tech stuff. We have fundamental problems. You talked about it, ease of doing business. Today you can't import chips. Taiwan to get the chips, primarily, right? In China, you are allowed to commercialize that as long as you pass. You have to wait for several years to get through phase 2 trials. Safety, phase 2 is clinical efficiency. So there are certain things learned, right? Very similar to what was done in STPI. Very similar. GIFT is outside of the purview of SEBI and RBI. That is to create, we have certain levers to kind of create. So we should have an innovation. social fund, and we should also have a women entrepreneur fund. I think we should, which are all run by very, very efficient, so that we can create this ecosystem that will evolve and make.
Thank you, sir.
Ratri, I want to add one thing. The startup part, right? Government is always one of the amount of spend government does, right from technology to logistics to etc. Right? And like in startups, I think 30 to 40% startups are building for government as well, right? So review every spend, and generally we find that it's not a very innovate, and if that we can open up, that can actually give the state further state consumption.
Absolutely, sir. You keep tech capital of the world. That is something we have in cards, where we really are serious about solutions here in AP, and that becomes the epicenter of innovation in the governance front.
See, the matter of fact also is that the entire speed. Andhra Pradesh now, it's all about speed of doing business. Conversation that Chandra sir of Tata Group and I had. So he came to meet the CM. So with him, he said, "Yeah, we don't get time, so might as well steal that 40 minutes in the." I wish I recorded, I should have got this camera and put it there, record. Speed. His point was, please understand that today, large organizations are doing Nara. Speed matters. Once projects get ground, business plan goes for a toss. You here is that conversations that we have are very serious, are in depth, and the state, it's not acha baat hui hai. I got a chance to meet Chandra sir, took a selfie, and that's not a priority. Our priority is more what are the areas that we can improve. But changes, and that's why in Pradesh we have the double engine bullet train Sarkar. So you have, we say, so Namo is no longer just Narendra Modi ji, it's Naidu. So the idea is our ability to champion is also something we have appetite for it, and the beauty is government of incremental reforms are not going to get us where we have to. Is that today government of India, like when I talk to Piyush ji or Ashwini ji or even Nirmala madam, they're all like, you tell us what we have to do, but double digit karna hai. We have transformative changes we're willing to do. And that is something where I'm looking forward to working with leaders on the dais, off the dais. Because tell us the changes that you look forward to. In chips, our ability, countries, our neighboring countries. These are things that Andhra Pradesh is one state that can champion those conversations. In Andhra now 13 months of hard work. We followed data privacy, lawful intercept definition, retrospective taxation. We really was done in the interest of our great country. In the process, Andhra had first more. It's a sleeping, I can't help it, no? Like quantum mission. But we are now working on how can I tap the entire funds available in the quantum mission. So what you will see 10 years research, manufacturing actually happening in the Amravati cluster is required, and that is what I'm looking forward to working with all of you. See, I'm a reasonable expert in policy making. I'm not an expert in logistics. So I look forward to working with Satish ji on how do I create the ecosystem for fundraising. And only then we can create this vibrant, to make Andhra Pradesh proud, but India proud.
Honorable Minister, for OFOE, One Family, One Entrepreneur Vision, we really need to ban and economies of scale. How do we make this mass movement that we have and through MSMEs, sir?
It's a nice question. You should recognize the minister as aligned the departments in a very passionate way. No, in the history, MSME, SERP and NRA relations and empowerment. We have SERP department where 90 lakh women work. So we are starting with SERP department to adopt. There's a target of 1 lakh women should convert into entrepreneurship every year. And MSME department is closely working to scale this up to maximum more than 1 lakh. Create the ecosystem, getting the private players, train the form the value chain, create a brand, and so the food processing, they have a lot of good ideas which can be taken into a global value. Working with the private partners to empower these women. SERP is family one entrepreneur, and as such MSME is closely working with SERP department as well to connect the global value. And we also have the NRT ministry. The NRIs, there is a large Telugu diaspora, inviting them, connecting them to the state, trying to build the network so connected to the global value, or being produced here can be scaled up to the global. Big way to go, but we are starting here. We're aligning the departments to get into that line, and we are taking the private partnership. We are taking it has to be a close cluster approach, and as such, cluster approach, so that the logistic cost can be reduced. Automotive sector in the across the Ramayapatnam port, and we have and we have steel industry in the north, and we have IT hub in Visakhapatnam. We have Amravati. As such, there's a lot of, and the drone hub in Kurnool. Adopting the futuristic technologies as well. See, we have a space technology. We are inviting the defense policy and getting the rights from original equipment manufacturers to adopt Pradesh, and also creating an ecosystem where the cluster approach can be taken. We also have a big thing called 175 MSME park. Getting the employment close to the city is not the right way. He thinks an employment. So he has created 175 MSME parks. So these are with better ecosystem, better facilities, with them in a big with a good support, where their capital investment can be reduced. And there's a big way that Honorable Chief Minister is also trying to create a cluster, common facility. So there's a lot of ecosystem which it is really going on, And we are inviting the private, players to collaborate with the government. Really could take it to the global value, global chain. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I think verticals. Since earlier you would have heard this from me. Vertical and horizontal integration in a cluster. Horizontal, right? Let's take solar cell research that can still happen. Institutions who have expertise in certain sectors. To look at aqua, to look at solar cell. From ingot to testing, wafer, the whole 9 yards. So, on India, who understand material science can actually go there and then incubate. So, vertical is set, the ecosystem companies are in, the certification, air conditioning. Blue Star gave me this feedback. Air conditioners are manufactured in Andhra. With the new agreement with LG, 70%. But there is no certification agency made for Europe or anywhere. You have to get certified. We need to send it to Germany. Go minimum 2 crores is spent just on certification. Is it not there in this ecosystem? That's when it struck to me. So we're doing this. So certification, testing, common facilities is draw for entrepreneurs to actually come and look at. So just to add on to.
Yeah, thank you, sirs. I just have 2 more questions. Answers in the interest of time. Professor Ramesh, we see that often, but then the commercialization of research is this lab to industry journey.
First off, we need to get those good research institutions. With an institution that our CM Garu created, right? Ground up. Like Lokesh Garu said, ISB was. And he created, and I think today it ranks now among the top 1 or 2 in the country, and maybe top 5 in the country for overall computer science research. I think institutions to come up first. I mean, lab to land requires good quality research happening. So on the other side, you need to get those, like Satish said, technology for the world, right? Or the innovation for the world. That will by and large be based on some deep science. Research centers created first. The mindset that day was like you create an institution within the government framework, it will become yet another the government framework. Today we are a private university, our sole promoter was. I think that mindset is very important. So it cannot. So it should be started with that mindset that you're doing research, and I don't think we have much of it in a long way before, and now they're trained to change. Institutions like IIIT, because we have to generate our own funds, we have very strong intent to commercialize, but we're doing good, but we could do much better. If you create a new breed of institutions, with suggest create those hubs, small hubs, PG research institutions, teaching. That is required with that new mindset is what I would think can bring about a significant shift.
The numerous centers of excellence that we're going to have in the RTIH network. Hopefully we do Mr. Madan, the last question to you is, how do we make entrepreneurship an urban privilege?
Very wonderfully said. And I've seen it happen, the miracles happen. We've taken literally youth, and in 6 months to a 1,000-hour intervention, we've transformed them to be English speaking. We've done it for over 100,000 mistakes. So much so that first day for sure, the entire incoming batch of transforming rural poverty. That's the power. So at RTIH, if we limited potential in every youth, right? Make them believe that miracles will happen, right? So I think that we've been talking about of youth, 4 stages quickly. How do we create aspirations in them to become entrepreneurs? How do we get them to perspire where they start growing? If we can speed up this journey of inspire, aspire, respire, as many people to experience that journey, the Lokesh garu that you're talking about, if we can hit that and we fail, inspire people to say this is all doable, and that's what we need, right? I'm a big the movie Kung Fu Panda, right? Belief, and by the ecosystem around shouting and celebrating successes, positioned to make that happen, and it will happen. That's the belief. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So rich that maybe I'm biased, but first for RTIH, or we should probably make. I know, sir. They say that all good things must end, especially a time-bound panel session. End this. So, on that note, thank you so much to our honorable ministers, sir, for innovation that now gives us the mandate and the momentum that. My distinguished panelists, all of your inputs were really honest and sure to take it forward. A big thank you to all the entrepreneurs that are attending to ecosystem exists and why there's a huge thank you to the audience who've been standing for over an hour. Really great to see this, and my sincere gratitude to CII discussion to happen and for your continued support. Thanks a lot. Over to you, ma'am.
The Power Pack Energy and Visionary session. To give them a big round of applause and a huge round of applause, in fact. So this session so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists and may I request Honorable Minister Mr. Nara Lokesh to facilitate our co-chair. If you can come forward with the token of appreciation and CII. MSME Shri Kondapalli Srinivas Garu. Mr. Ravi Arora. Mr. Padaki. And Professor Ramesh. Thank you. Please. for all of us to witness the exchange of MOUs. May I now request Mr. Nara Lokesh initiate the exchange of MOUs, please. I would like to call upon the Andhra Pradesh VFX Animation and Gaming through this collaboration. AVGC XR right there at Amravati. Support for startups in the media and entertainment sector, helping them take Andhra Pradesh to the forefront of the digital creative revolution. Can we have next? Have Startup UAE. We request come on the stage, please. This MOU will launch a startup exchange, access to international markets, investors and network. It will also create a bridge between RTIH and UAE-based innovation. Quantum AI. Okay, we move on to the AIM. AIG. Are they here? Applause for them, please. In partnership with AIG, IU Nova, a healthcare-focused incubator cell that will now startups, positioning Andhra Pradesh as a leader in health tech. Runway. This is the partnership with Startup Runway. They are going to launch a US market program who's going to provide startups with mentorship, soft landings, and entry pathways into American markets. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? And the last we have Limited. So RRP Electronics Limited. This is the OSAT project which is talking about outsourcing semiconductor, and they're investing around 10,000 crore of worth of investment. Ministers as well as the panelists to come together for the photo opportunity. Can we have a photo op, please? Thank you so much, and it's a great audience. I'm applaud everybody who's been here. And thank you. With this, we close this session. And thank you.